All right. Well, as promised, I would make a little video before we put it in, kind of up close to the car here. But I just wanted to show that this is the stock harness. So everything is plugged in. We got the knock sensor up here. We got the oil pressure down here, and nothing on this harness has been modified at all. Not one pin, nothing is cut, nothing is extended. The only thing that I did was take the plastic piece that covers the injectors. I took that off because that allows the wires to be routed better. And then the plastic piece that covers this right here, which is right there on the ground, and it covers this piece, and basically it just keeps that section stiff. And before I put this in, I'm going to tidy up a few other things, get these off of the mount, and probably fasten that up a little bit. But I just wanted to show you the only plugs that are left. This is for the power steering, and then this is for the O2 sensor, the primary O2. The idle air control is plugged in. The TPS is plugged in. Over on this side, this is the only side that doesn't route exactly the same, but again, nothing has been modified on it. So we have the TPS plugged in right here. We have the intake air temperature right here. The fan switch is plugged in. The ground for the fan switch is attached to the thermostat housing. The starter signal is attached. The distributor here, the VTEC oil pressure, VTEC solenoid, coolant temperature for the gauge, coolant temperature reference for the ECU, and the reverse plug right here. So the only thing different here is that normally on a D series, these plugs right here are normally back here on the head. So these have, obviously they're a little bit stretched out to match here. But again, like I said, none of this has been modified to fit. Like I said, this is 100% stock harness, and this will 100% work to put in a B series in your 96 to 2000. So again, the only thing I did was I took off the plastic cover here, and then the plastic cover on the bottom, which is this piece right here that goes along the back side of that harness. Those two things are the only thing I did to the harness. And this will 100% reach all the way back in the car, plugged into the factory style. And then same with this one. So this one is going to go over to the body right there. So we're just going to tuck that up. Still have a few things to do. I'm going to throw the header on before I put it in, and tidy up some of the harness back there in the back. And this thing is pretty much ready to go in. Engine bay wise, I am trying to leave as much in here as I can, with it still looking clean and tidy. Some of the stuff we're going to pull out, obviously, like the stock air box. We're going to put a new radiator in. We're going to keep the ABS. We're going to have to change out the power steering pump to a B16, but I'll go over that at a later date. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So like I said, I just wanted to make a quick little video of how that fit up. So the only thing that we are going to have to 100% modify is going to be the distributor plug, because this plug right here is for OBD2B, and they don't make a B series OBD2B plug for some reason. The 99 2000 SI has actually come with the regular OBD2A style, which is more square than this one, which I believe is actually what's on this one right here. Yep. So like I said, this one right here, and this one would fit if we had a 96 to 98 harness. This plug would fit, and this distributor would 100% work with no modification. But that's not the case, because we're using a 99 2000 harness from the original chassis on here. So we will have to basically make a distributor for this, which is fine. We'll just use newer parts out of it. And I believe they had something kind of funky going on here anyways. Maybe it was on the distributor. Yeah, so either way, like I said, all this is going to work. We'll try to tidy this up so none of it gets pulled on. This is a little tight right here on the pressure sensor, but other than that, everything will 100% work. When I get the hose on there, you know, we'll make sure everything's routed nice and safely for these hoses up here. But again, like I said, stock harness, and we'll get this put in, and let's keep going. All right, well, I'm gonna skip straight to the good part, I guess. Obviously, already got it in. Just wanted to go over a few things that I will have to modify in order to be able to start it. So again, this is a B18C JDM GSR. We're going to do AC power steering and use as much factory stuff that came with the car as possible, obviously, to put it in. So as of right now, the only aftermarket stuff we have are the engine mounts, the billet mounts, so the side transmission, the rear transmission, along with the 99 2000 SI T-bracket. So that black bracket right there that's bolted to the rear mount, that is from a 99 2000 SI factory from a car though. We use a 94 through 01 front transmission bracket, this one right here, which bolts directly onto the transmission and then goes over to the frame rail with 214s in a standard mount. I didn't do anything special there, it's just a stock one. On this side, we used a CRV pump bracket. So this is from a B20 CRV, and the pump is originally from the Civic. Still got to clean that up a little bit, looks kind of ghetto. But all of this is bolted on. All of that is factory items from there. The only thing I did to this one was I re-lubed the bearing. So I took that apart and re-lubed that. And now that's spinning nice and good. So again, billet mount there, and then the one that's in the rear. The one thing that I'm gonna have to modify is this hose right here. This is the fuel return. We used a factory GSR rail, factory GSR injectors, OBD2. Those plug right into the harness that came with the car, so nothing changes there. But this hose is not long enough, and I can't bend the metal line down there enough to be able to get that to plug in there or stretch. So we're just gonna go ahead and cut that off and then replace that line with just a little bit longer one. This is the factory throttle cable. I still need to find a bracket, make sure, tighten that down so it doesn't fall inside that hole. I do believe that if I go and find a P73 Type R bracket, it should work with this throttle cable and that bigger throttle wheel. So it does look like that you could run this in two orientations. It looks like you could probably put the bracket on the outside from the GSR and then do a top pull, or you can use this standard cable and route it down here and use the standard side pull. We're gonna opt to do the side pull as long as I can find the correct throttle cable bracket. I'm not gonna make a ghetto looking one because I hate when people do that. Other than that, we still need to run the brake booster hose. I haven't seen how that's gonna fit just yet. But again, all factory harness, factory ground, still the factory harness. You saw that it was plugged into VTEC here. The distributor plug is the only one that's not plugged in right now. Everything else is plugged in. This is the factory starter wire that came with the car, factory starter signal wire that came with the harness. All this is routed back up, so we have everything hooked back up into the fuse box here. So really all we need to do is put that tray back in here, and then we can hook up the battery for that. I am gonna have to modify this as well. So this is the factory GSR fuel line. So you can see how that goes in there, it comes up here, and it does fit, but it's not gonna work with an intake on it. So we are gonna have to figure something out here, whether I use one from a different chassis or try to bend this, or I don't know, but I think if I bend it, it's probably gonna break and just start spewing fuel everywhere. The only other things that I'm going to do, I still need a hose from right here to these two ports, and then a hose from here back to the IAC. So that hose, that nipple right there, will go back to the IAC. These two connect to each other. When I put the radiator in, we'll put this hose on. The only thing that I'm going to do that probably a lot of people won't be able to do, but I'm going to do it anyways because I don't like the way it looks. On this piece right here, this is the standard outlet that goes onto the head right there. It's just removed. I'm going to take this over to my buddy Rob, and we're going to take this little brass piece out, and then we're going to weld this hole shut because I don't need this line. It's just a secondary line that's literally going to go to nothing. And I hate it when people put hoses on here and they put a bolt in there and, you know, hope that it holds. That's just super ghetto looking to me. So I'm going to take that out. We're going to weld that shut. But other than that, I mean, you could get away with putting the hose on there and putting the bolt in it, but just not really what I like to do. But aside from that, I did hook up the shift linkage. I'm using the Type R shift linkage, and I have solid bushings in there. So they're metal bushings in the rear for those, and then a metal bushing for the front, and it is very solid. I mean, there's the only play in there is the play that comes from the transmission. So you put it in gear, you know, that's just the standard play, but it's super solid. So I do like that. I have seen people that said that the solid mounts have broken off the tab on their transmission, so I'm hoping that's not the case because that would really suck. What else? So over here inside the car, we've already ran the harness in. I don't have it plugged into anything yet because I'm not quite there yet, but this is the factory harness that comes inside. Need to put that piece back up. But these two will plug into the ECU. Sorry, these two will plug into the ECU, and then so will this one. Actually, they're going to plug into a jumper and then into an ECU. So we're going to run OBD2B to OBD1, so I can run an OBD1 ECU. And I'll be running a chipped P30 ECU for now, which is actually from a V16, just to get it fired up, and then eventually we'll probably put it on Honda and tune it. I did bleed the clutch line, so the clutch and all that it works and engages fine. You know, so far I don't have it running, obviously, but everything is hooked up. Obviously just missing the radiator, but we're going to use a aftermarket aluminum B-series radiator and then standard hoses. And that's it, guys. And we still got to do the power steering, but I got to get another pump. So I'm just kind of letting that chill out for now. I'll need to put that bracket on down there, and then you'll have to use a VTEC only upper power steering bracket. You can't use any other one. It has to be from a VTEC head, but you can use either a GSR or B16. That will work, but you have to use a 99-2000 B16 pump in order to bolt all that on, because the orientation of the bolts are different, B-series versus D-series. So I can go over that when I get it. But other than that, that's it, guys. It is in there, and hopefully the next video I have, it'll be completely done and ready, and we'll have it running. So stay tuned and more up on that.